Well, so this is Vignesh presenting up at 0xCon with respect to attack and defense techniques with Kubernetes. So about myself, I've been in this information security field for like 8 plus years. I've been based out of Tamil Nadu, a small state in India. And apart from that, I can say like my key achievements. I've been into Talk Global Talk 10 the Hack the Box and some various conferences. I've been speaker like Balkan with where I spoke like for Active Directory security and for ThreatCon where I spoke like body area networks, and I also other areas of interest were like APT, threat intelligence, and advisory emulation. So this is all in short about me. So what's agenda for today is how we can attack and defend up the Kubernetes attacks and clusters, or in short pods, and how we can relate it up with Meter attacks. And I'll be showing up some attack scenarios, and I'll be sharing you some cheat sheet kind of series for defense mechanisms, and I'll be explaining up how it will be helpful with respect to this securing the environment. So the key idea of this presentation is to harden your environment and to highlight some of the common attack scenarios which I have faced in during the times of research. So let's jump into the introduction of K8. So basically K8 alias Kubernetes is like an workload and containerized workload and services platform where you can manage up the workloads for multiple instances, and where also you can automate it up. It's from uh, Google, that all guys knows about it. So and the right side you can see visualize some of the pods, kubelets, docker. So this is in when a developer pushes something, it will be pushed into kubelet, and that kubelet will be executing through controller and scheduler. So this is how the basic Kubernetes cluster works. So if someone is unaware about before the talk, I assume that all were about aware about pods, containers, kubelets, etc. And what is Meter is like an similar technique or a framework where the people will use to uh, derive threat model, and as an attacker or in red teamer you can use it for red teaming emulation based activities and some adversary simulation activities as well. So here with respect to K clusters, I derive into similar to the path of cyber kill chain. So cyber kill chain similar process like initial reconnaissance, execution, vulnerability analysis, exploitation, persistence, etc. But with respect to K cluster, there will be an initial access through some cloud credentials, and there will be some malicious execution which will be performed at the container, and it will be persistence inside the backdoor container, and the privileges will be escalated, and from there the defense evasion like by clearing logs, etc. And if you have the credential access, you can dump it from the K8 secrets or whatever the configuration files available in the pods. And if you have some cloud resources, you can write and filter out the endpoint. And the maximum impact which you can cause were data destruction, resource hijacking, and you can cause DDoS attacks as well. And with respect to defense matrix, as a first rule of thumb, prevention is better than cure. So basically you need to harden the cluster. I'll be sharing a few points from my research with respect to K8 clusters. So hardening, credential hardening, application hardening, platform hardening, and with respect to detection, how far you can analyze the network inbound and outbound traffic, and platform monitoring, runtime analysis, if there is any user behavior analysis, and you can isolate based on the detection mechanism, and you can evade the threat. So this is in short all about for K8 clusters, and some of the open source tools which are available for K8 defense specifically were Falcon, Trivi, and Statboard, which you can use it for statistics. And whatever the examples which I shown here were set it up using Falcon with Slack. So let me go ahead. Before that, I'll be showing you up some attack tools like Cubesploit, Cube Hunter. It's like a benchmarking tool, and Pirates, which you can use it for emulation. So if you want to set up the parallel setup in your environment, you can use KubeGoat, which is like a similar vulnerable pod which you can where you can compromise and see. And secondly, you can use Falcon for runtime monitoring, and for alerting you can use some channels like Slack or something like Telegram bots in order to alert you up, or you can configure some SMTP server with mail as well. So whenever defending the ports, there were some common challenges persist. First of all, we should be clear before handing up what were the challenges. So first challenge when it comes to place is pods and containers will be in communication, and whenever there is a high usability, there will be a less security. With respective to K, there is more options to configure, and with respect to multi-user tenants, there is an always chance of compromise, since we always will be focusing on handing off core tenant and we'll be leaving out other tenants. And moreover, all the runtime monitoring would be completely dependent on the logging perspective. If logging is compromised, everything is compromised, or if there is some failure in alerts or something like that, it will be completely compromised. So with respective to K clusters, some of the common attack scenarios where once you compromise, as I showed in Meter earlier, you can use it for like in C2 server port, you can use it like that, or you can use it for some crypto mining, which is a common mechanism. You can also scan some ports online if it is available, and you can see some crypto mining malware is running up, and some internal network mapping or network discovery can also be carried out, and privilege escalation also can be carried out, and credential dumping is under research, where we can credential dump the credentials as well. And you can also execute some rootkits, and you can place some execution on process whichever running on temp, and you can also use it for pivoting as well. So when it comes to securing up, it can be categorized into four parts. First part is how you can harden the host. Second part is how you can harden the components, and how you can harden the components at building or deploying and runtime phases. So in short, it would be like an entire network setup, and where we can harden it up. So here there is a basic structure which I have put it up. So here you can see some Kubernetes control manager, cloud control manager, and there will be a Kubernetes API server, and from there it will be the traffic will be inverted into some certain kubelets or or Kubernetes nodes, and that would be focusing on etcd and other stuff. So this is an in short network diagram or some architecture which I am going to explain to you. So some basics were like kubelet, which runs on each node of the cluster. It makes sure that all the containers were maintaining the uptime on your pod. Kube proxy is like a network proxy server which will be running on each cluster, where it will be used for in-house communication or internal communication between the pods, and some container runtime which is responsible for managing and executing the containers. So before securing part, I would like to explain some of the nodes which you need to keep an eye on. So whenever there is an Kubernetes master node is running up, there will be 3 ports which you need to configure on, which you can alter it up based on your internal configuration. So the ports would be like kubelet API, read-only kubelet API, node port services, which will be running by default on the master nodes. And if there is an SSH access, you need to limit the access by assigning some host resources, and also you need to ask users to use kubectl execute to provide direct access to the host. If possible, you can use some Kubernetes authorization plugins where you can write some namespaces or containers in order to restrict access to that core node of the kubelet. And with respective to the work node, you can write some SKU policy and you can monitor in Kubernetes work nodes like 6443, where the core API server will be running, and there will be a scheduler and controller manager running at 10251 and 252, and there will be an always read only kubelet API running at 10255. So whenever you are implementing some of the core network mechanisms, you should be focusing on these ports, which will help you to monitor up and evade controls. So some other key points for attackers and defenders were, so whenever there is an API request, you should be controlling what API request is coming up. You should be it's completely dependent on the API request, and that API request can be classified and can be authenticated as well. So whenever you are using some small clusters, you can use turn on the service account tokens for authentication. Or if you are using some large clusters, you can use like OpenID Connect, or you can use some short-lived tokens which are like key-based tokens. So assume like there is a web request which is coming between server and client. You can assume like the communication should be smooth enough by validating the key-based authentication, or you can use some centralized groups, and you can also use some managed distributions like GKE, EKS and AKS support authentication, where it will be provided by the IAM providers. And also one more point which you can remember is like you can use Kubernetes impersonation, where you can use it for managing cloud clusters and on-prem clusters in order to uh, having access to API server configuration. You can just monitor using the Kubernetes impersonation services. And for authorization, you can also use an RBAC server, which is a role based method, where you can give how much you need to access and what authorization needs to be made. It's similar to the access control of the application. And also you might need to restrict the access to the etcd service as well, which is a core of the kubelet pod. So when it comes to dashboard, here I refer like what were the key mechanisms, or whenever it is highlighting. Dashboard is an area where an attacker would be more concentrating or relying upon, where he can collect maximum statistics. So whenever it comes to the dashboard, you should not expose it to the public, and you should be always having the authentication, and please keep it within your LAN, and always turn on RBAC if possible. Some dashboard access should be limited with some LDAP access, and always remember one point, like the service account of your Active Directory should be differing from the kubelet account, and you should not grant the service account for dashboard's highest privileges. And also please remember that whenever you are configuring the network policies, it should from pod to dashboard, it should be blocking up the internal pods. And you should also, if you are running pods like before 1.8, you should be also be aware of the fact like the dashboard will be running with full privileges if before 1.8, where the role binding is only left with cluster admin. You can also use authenticate using some reverse proxy, or you can embed using Kubernetes impersonation by embedding tokens, which you can use it for privileging the service account, as well as managing service accounts as well, cloud accounts as well. So this part is corely related to some dashboard part. So if I summarize up to now, what I have explained is there will be, assuming there will be some master node and work node, and which will be alerted through some dashboard. So these are the some key points which you need to focus on whenever you are protecting up. And other key line of defense which I want to highlight it is like you can use it like in cheat sheet. You should always use the authorized images, and if possible run distroless images destroyless images, in the sense you can limit the kernel activities and other activities with respective to the containers, and use container registry and image scanner, so you can keep up to date with respective to the vulnerabilities which are in public. And you can also use namespaces to isolate one resource from another resources. And when you can also use Kubernetes security policy, but always remember like some key points. You should never run the application process as root. Also, do not allow privilege escalation. Use always in root only file system. And you should also use SE Linux options if it is available. And please remember that whenever you are configuring your own application, you should be using your own Kubernetes service account. And never ever mount the service account credentials with respect to some container. If you are mounting up for compliance purposes, it should not be accessing up the Kubernetes API. Make sure it's not accessing the Kubernetes API. So with respective to RBAC controls, you can implement role-based access controls as well. If in addition to that, you can implement service-based authorization, and you can also implement some network policies, which I have showed it up over here. So here I have just wrote in sample YAML file, which will be monitoring, selecting up the pod which is running on port 80, and always encrypt the secrets at rest. And when it comes to runtime activity, make sure you are monitoring all the process activities, and whatever the network communication happening between the external clients and servers with respect to the containerized services, you should be always monitoring up. And whichever running with respective to privileged flag like cap drop and cap add, you can set it up and monitor it up. And you also try to make sure that proper isolation is made between Docker containers and underlying host. Also, you make sure that you need to restrict the usage with respect to file systems. Also, make sure read-only root file system has been implemented. And whenever in rejection of containers with root privileges or restriction of containers with respect to privilege principles, it should be also be taken care. So these are like runtime key activities which you need to monitor up whenever there is an alert or something, or which you need to figure it out. And with respect to sandboxing, you can use things like kata containers, where you can isolate containers, and you can use gvisor, which you can use to host to kernel, and you can use firecracker, which you can implement use with respect to seg groups and user space and namespace. And you need to enable some audit logging. I have showed you how the normal sample audit logging here. You can see what kind of event which needs to be done, and what is the timestamp, what is the audit ID, what is the stage, and which namespace, which username, and it should also include source and requested timespace as well. So this is an sample audit logging which you can keep it up for sandboxing as well. So if you ask me to summarize up what were the key things which were happened till now is, I have explained you what is Keynote, what is the K8 cluster, how the master node and work node has been to be monitored, and what were the key mechanisms which you can use to secure up runtime, and as well as with respect to dashboard and host network, and with respect to audit logging as well. So if you want to set it up and play around with respect to your end as well, you can use some threat monitoring platform with some Minikate bots like Minikube, and you can also use continuous monitoring like Falcon, and you can also map the tickets with your SOC tools like Splunk, etc. So now with respective to attack and defense scenarios, I'll be showing up some one or two scenarios where you can focus on it for alerts, how it will be alerted up. So here I have run an Monero miner inside a K8 cluster, and here you can see the namespaces which is running on my machine. Once the namespace is executed, the attackers will execute common commands. We'll be following up the meter techniques. Here I have executed some common commands like IDs, and I try to run in some engine shell, and I try to execute some of the pods and some of the reconnaissance data as well. So here are the some snapshot alerts from command line. Here you can see I have tried to write an file into nginx root, and this is the alert with respective to alert. Here I whatever I used is shell demo, where you can use it for alerting mechanisms, and I have just fired up the shell. You can see what's the command line I have executed, and what's the pod name, and what's the procedure it has been triggered up. And another thing you might ask, like, what if I change the namespace, or what if I used to mount the namespace? So using the previous define mechanism, I have wrote an alert. So here you can see using Falcon, you can see whenever there is a mounting related to changing in thread space, or mounting related to bin bash points, you can get alerts as well. And another alert is, if I suppose, as I said, the key mechanism for runtime security is logs. If I delete the logs, you can also monitor it up. You can, so basically whatever it's logging at the journalctl or with respective to system alerts, everything would be alerted over here, and it will be logged up over here. So this is all in short related to my presentation. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation with respective to that. And for further reads, you can always go with respective to awesome K8 security, where you have multiple K8 security papers. I hope this presentation also will get added over there, and Microsoft MetaMatrix as well. And you can, for beginners, you can set up with Falcon and other setup. So that's it from my side. I hope you have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.